I hope you're all well. Welcome to my channel if you've not been here before. It's where I talk about twin flame process, also known as divine plan or the divine path. And today I'm going to do some cards and also talk about what I've found out, what they've told me since the full moon. I'm going to relay a little bit of my personal experience as well. So I'm going through this process and I give guidance from my higher self, my Pleiadian higher self, and also relate through my personal experience how I'm guided to understand this journey. So, yeah, partly I'm going to do that. So, the first thing is that I put out some videos, a video a while ago that talked about 8 moons till physical reunions, which are going to be this year in March. So that video is still out there. If you haven't seen it, if you want to have a look at it. When I put that out, I wasn't sure if it was including the moon that had just passed, because I literally got that information just after a moon. So I thought maybe that's one of the moons. It does appear that it wasn't, and that the last moon is actually the moon coming, which is the end of March. So that's one thing, basically. So that's that cleared up. I think I wanted it to include that moon, so then I did include that moon, because for me that meant it would be sooner. But obviously I can't just have what I want. So that's the reason for that. Because even though I get the information all the time, the information isn't always completely clear in every respect. And I have got my human self that is like itching to get this process to conclusion, as most of you are as well. So, I tend to jump on like the nearest, the best answer if I've got a query, and not the one that extends it out even more. So that's just the reason for that. Okay, so I put that video out, and then I've put videos out ever since, kind of giving little updates. And just, it's been a bit like wait and see, really. And I've been doing a lot of work on the law of attraction that came in last year. Working with that and applying that. Not applying it, but working with it within the twin flame perspective. So, and I put out more information about that as well. So there's like 2 trajectories that you get. One is law of attraction, and the other is twin flame process. So they kind of work at cross currents. You've got one running that way and one running that way, like a cross. So I think I put out information about that. And just to kind of give a little overview of that, it's basically that you apply the law of attraction to every area of your life and it will work. And that's for everybody that's incarnated. However, for twin flames, because you're in this energetic link that is about transforming fear to love, changing the template of humanity, basically, which is the divine plan. It means that you bring yourself specific tasks along the way, along your journey, where you're going to have to deal with really big fears or little fears, all sorts of fears. So your law of attraction isn't working quite like the law of attraction works, because these things that you bring yourself are destined points. So it's not like everything is coming to you from law of attraction, even if you could do that. And most of the journey, actually, you're purging, so you couldn't do it anyway, because you're not in you're not in like that vibration where you can like just produce the result that you want. However, so I've seen the broader perspective of all of that, so I put that out there. That's just a little bit more about that. So you've got 2 things working: law of attraction, that's one thing; twin flame process, that's another thing. And what else? So basically, the last moon that we just experienced, which was on Monday, I felt after that Tuesday actually hit, I really dropped frequency a lot. So I do know now as well, and I don't know if I put this out there or not, that when you drop frequency, i.e. you're purging post moon, because it's full moons are release points, right? It means that you're taking on board a load of shit from the masculine, the one that you're connected to, who's working from the masculine perspective. You're taking that on board. You drop frequency to take it on board, because you couldn't take it on board if you were in like an upper frequency, because it's not compatible with an upper frequency. It's all the stuff that comes from the ego, like around the mind, worry, stress, fear, that kind of stuff, but also things like anger, resentment, hatred, all that kind of stuff as well. And you drop frequency to take it in, and that's why you feel like rubbish. and it's all physical stuff as well. It's all like that physical aching and pains. I had all of that on the day after the full moon. And then once you release it, you bounce back up. So woke up this morning absolutely fine, really bouncy again, ready to get on with life, and completely different to yesterday, basically. So then my frequency went right back up, and I know that with that, their frequency goes right up as well, because you're transforming what they bring to you. So that's one thing. If you don't know that's happens. Another thing is it's not just in that way either that things are brought for you. So basically, they told me, you've heard me talk, if you've heard me before, talk about the completion process, which happens to the feminine, which is where you come into your power, and your power is your vibration. So it's when you're aligned with your higher self, and you're in a vibration of feeling good, and nothing can take you out of that feeling good place. So nothing can bring you out of it. So you're not literally, things like people attempting to shame you, belittle you, make you feel guilt, just like water off a duck's back, that you get to that stage where you're just not taking it on board, and you're not feeling the emotion, you see, because the emotion is closest to vibration. So it might come towards you because you bring yourself these things, like I said, but it's not like affecting you because you've cleared to a point where you're no longer going to allow that to resonate within your vibration. It's all about the vibration, all right? So that's the completion point for the feminine. After that, because you've got shared vibration, you're bringing the masculine to completion point, so they get to the same place as you, where they're not feeling the shame or anything like that. It's basically coming back to a state of love for the self, which we've heard before, probably not just from me, from loads of people, about where they talk about wholeness. It's about that, but it's in the vibration that it's the aim of it. That's the divine plan. It's the vibration, because your vibration is your spirit self. It's your whole self. It is your etheric self. It is your eternal self. It's your Lemurian self. And the divine plan is about bringing us all back to the state we're in Lemurian, which is a highly empathic state that's functioning in a physical world. So you've got the two matrices working, one overlapping the other. You've got the highly empathic Lemurian matrix, and then you've got the physical density matrix, which is where the fear is. So the process, the divine plan, is actually eliminating the fear through your vibration, where you're re-emerging into your Lemurian higher self, but in a physical framework. So it's returning the whole of humanity to that empathic state in a way that we can live and enjoy the physical world. So that's what it's all about, being able to live in the physical world but not feel any fear. So moving away from that density in every respect. Density is in the mind, it's in the fear, it's in the drop vibration, all that kind of stuff. Oh, excuse me, I'll strip off. Right, just flashing. Okay, so that's one thing. That was probably digressing. That's why they made me flash, or I made myself flash. Because they're not really here to talk about that. And I've literally got about 20 minutes before the spin cycle kicks in the washing machine, and then you won't be able to hear me anyway. So, because these videos are always too long, so I thought if I put the washer on, it's going to make me be quick. Right, what else? So, okay, I had information coming, right, so this was on the full moon, the day of the full moon. Hang on, where shall I start? The night before the full moon, I woke up in the morning, and they'd said to me quite clearly overnight, Rebirth is the next moon, which is a new moon in Aquarius, which is at the end of March. They showed me the Empress card as they said it. So this is when, if you haven't had your reunion yet, it's coming, basically. So it's around now, or it's any time then, the process is over, basically. And I'll explain a little bit more about that, because you need to know if you're in completion or conclusion. So I'll get back into that in a minute. Yeah, maybe I'll do that now. Okay, so yeah, the completion point for the feminine is this wholeness. So it's the vibration. So it's when you're no longer corded by any emotions, basically. And then following that, because it's a shared vibration, you have to kind of bear with it a little bit until the masculine completes as well. And whilst they're completing, they still bring things to you to be cleared. So you'll still get stuff coming through your mind. And so it will be like worry, stress, even like arguing inside your head, conflict inside your head, being in ego, you know, there's still things like wanting to control others or attack others, that kind of stuff as well. That's all ego as well. It could manifest in loads of different ways, but it's not you, and it's not who you are. It's just what's being brought for you to clear. You might feel it, and it might resonate through your personal experience. However, it's being brought for you to clear. So it's not actually your experience. I mean, if you really wanted to like see that from a broader perspective, you're not really who you are. You're not really who you think you are. You're not really who you're incarnated as. So none of it is about you. But that's a whole other subject, right? So, before the masculine finishes completion, he brings you more stuff, basically, which is about him clearing the ego. So you've always got that choice point, which is the end of the journey for the masculine energy, which is about them following the heart. For them to come back to a state of love within themselves, which is about self-love, they have to clear everything just the way that you have and come back to a state of self-love within the self. And within that feeling of self-love, it's complete letting go. So when the feminine completes, completely lets go of the other twin. Not in a state of like that push and pull that you get in the purge, where you're like, I hate them, I wish they'd go away, oh, I love them so much. That's tipping between the masculine and feminine, but in a completed state of it just isn't there anymore. And you love them, you know that you'll always love them, the love is there, but it's not a love that makes you cry or makes you ache or makes you pain or makes you long or makes you sad. It's you have a stability within yourself that the love can't affect because your vibration is solid and strong. So, and then you really are in self-love, because that is a point of nothing's ever going to make me not love myself ever again. No other person outside of me, no other situation, no other event, no matter what happens, I'm never going to not love myself again. And that's when you're freed from all the other, or you're completed of clearing all those other lower emotions like shame and regret and all that kind of stuff. So, and then they go through that as well, and they come to completion. So you could be right now, you could be in your completion stage. So you could still be doing that, because that's prior to rebirth. But then after your completion is their completion. So you could still be in that stage where the masculine's bringing you stuff for you to clear, because they're coming into their self-love, their completion. Or you could be in conclusion. So conclusion is where you reunite in the physical, basically, and it's all smooth sailing from there, where it wasn't smooth sailing before. So you could be in either of those phases, but basically the rebirth happens when you're in conclusion, and in conclusion what happens is that your vibrations are the same and you can come together again in the physical, and this time you don't trigger each other and you don't set things off like rockets, because basically you're holding yourself together. The feminine will hold herself together, or himself together, the masculine will hold himself together, so there's none of that reverberation that sets people running apart, to put it in a very a lower way of understanding it. So, but there's so much more to it than that we won't go into right now. But that's just the conclusion and what happens in the physical framework when it's a conclusion, right? So, and then we got rebirth. So, like I say, so then what else did they tell me? Right, so the full moon, like I say, I felt absolutely fine actually, and was really bouncing around. And then the day after, which was yesterday, felt like I'd been hit by a lorry and couldn't basically move at all. Felt really, how you feel, that feeling, drained, ill, achy. Not really so much sad, although I did, I must have known I was going to do this, watch The Notebook yet again, and there's always something in that film that makes me cry. And I really think I watched it to see which bit would make me cry. So, and I did cry, but it was a different bit than ever before. It was more relevant to completion and conclusion, and also it was almost like the feeling that I got was not about me and him. It was about the movie itself. So it was like I wasn't attaching so much meaning to my situation. I did fleetingly, but then I kind of just went back to the movie and the attachment to the movie. So it meant that I did feel my vibration fluctuate because of it, because it will do if you feel sad, but it was only for a brief second, and then I went back to the movie, and I was like, it was a bit of an aha moment with that. So that did happen yesterday. Last night I went to sleep, I sweated all night, I tossed and turned, and I heard them say, you've turned a corner. So when they said that, I woke up this morning. There's another thing that happened. Yesterday was Tuesday, wasn't it? So it was yesterday this happened. My phone rang. My phone never rings because I never call anybody and I don't know anybody anymore. And I don't use my phone. And the phone rang, so I went to answer it, and it was a man's voice, and he asked for my twin by name, only the first name. I didn't bother to ask what second name you're looking for, but by his first name. So I knew something was being given a message when that happened. And then I said, "What company are you calling from?" Obviously, I said, "Well, that's not me. You've got the wrong person." And then I said, "What company?" And he said, "Corinthian Sports." And my twin is heavily involved with sports and always has been, so I knew it was a message. I didn't know what Corinthian meant. I went to Google, I looked it up, and I know there's a whole Bible chapter on Corinthians, but honestly, the Bible just doesn't resonate anymore. And when I was trying to find the meaning of Corinthians in the Bible, it would have basically meant I had to read the whole, chapter or whatever, and I was just not up for doing that, to be quite honest. Um, but also the meaning of Corinthian is a form of architecture, an ancient architecture, and they have Corinthian pillars, and these are like really strong, stable pillars. And I knew when I read that, I knew it was about its vibration, because the vibration looks like a pillar of energy. It looks like a tower of energy. So I knew his vibration. I knew he'd reached completion when they said that, when I got that message through. And not straight away when I got it on the phone, but like I said, then went to sleep and woke up and they'd said, "You've turned a corner." So I knew that. The other thing is, I had a little thing going on with my um, surgery that was healing, and it wasn't healing optimally. And whilst it wasn't healing, I knew that it was going to heal fine. And this has been for since I had it done, so over a week. I knew that, and I kept, my ego kept wanting to make me worry about it and making me want to Google it and then look at it and worry about it. And I was just like, no, because I know it's going to be fine. I haven't come all this way on this journey for that not to be fine. I didn't arrange to do it through my higher self at this time of year, this year, before my conclusion and rebirth, if it wasn't going to be right. So I know that. Plus, you keep telling me it's all right. And it's always, so I was just like, no, I'm not going to worry about it. So as it turned the corner, it's really funny because that has cleared up. So it's like, how it all plays out together. It's like your physical life is not what you think it is. Your physical life is only a part of your energetic journey. And if you're a twin flame, your physical life is all a part of your twin flame journey. It's all a part of your process. None of it is your physical life. None of it is what you think it is. So the meaning is different. The meaning in all your physical life is something that's going on energetically. It's a message for you, your whole physical life. And all those numbers that you get at the start and the synchronicities and that kind of stuff. And, even if you get clairaudience, clairvoyance, those are just like little peeks behind the curtain, basically. But if you were to pull the curtain back, you see everything, like a load of wheels and pulleys and levers controlling the physical dimension. That is all spirit, all of it. So that's been really interesting towards the end of this experience for me to be brought into the broader perspective of this reunion experience. So that's the stuff I've got to tell you about the moon. And then the other thing I wanted to just share is that for a long, long time, if you've watched me, you see me out here and you see me purging and you see me in ego and you see me thrashing around like, when is this going to end? And it's gone on for me for 13 years, the separation. And that's practically been a whole purge until the beginning of this year, where it all died down. And, or I guess maybe the 8 moons, but that was the end of last year, right, when they told me that. So I now understand the reason for me being on YouTube and talking about it, and the reason for me doing all the readings for people and talking about it, and the reason for me delaying my completion and my conclusion is because I've had to become the broader perspective of the whole process, so that I can relate the whole process to those that are going through it. So at this point in the journey for me, I'm the broader perspective of the whole journey. So it's not just the little bits of information I get, it's seeing the whole journey and the fact that it is that whole physical life, that is the journey. if you can see what I mean. And everybody here, I want to add, has something to do that's specific to this journey, that what they can't see with their physical eye at first. So I've done sessions with people who know that they do work in the night energetically. They see themselves leaving their physical body. They see themselves passing energy between them and their twin. I've done sessions with people who are doing vibrational work on the vibrational nature of food, and they have lots of illness because they have to actually they have to study the vibrational nature of food. That's their purpose, and that's why they have that illness. There's various people that just have to come back to a state of love. I mean, that's quite a common theme. It's like coming back to love for the self, and it's also letting go of all fear, which I've put in other videos. So like the amount of fear that you bring to yourself on this journey for you as hurdles for you to like leap over and to like reorganize your vibration around that and not feel fear anymore. That's a lot of people just bring that in as their mission, right? And from there you get back to self-love. So it's all, everything that happens in your physical life has got a purpose that isn't, you can't see is this journey, but is this journey, all of it, not just the purging, but everything that goes on in your physical life. So and like I say, mine is about the broader perspective of the journey itself and the reunion part of the journey. So and I see that now because I am the broader perspective. I couldn't have seen it when I wasn't the broader perspective, but now I do. So there's that I wanted to share. And then I've started my reunion process. It's not how I thought it was going to be. It's completely different because I'm seeing the broader perspective of it. So I'm going to share that with you as well. I have turned the comments off because on the last video I brought myself 4 attacks. And that was obviously, I decided to do that at that time to make sure that I was going to be able to hold my vibration in relation to all of that, which I did. But I just, I'm assuming now that's that. However, I'll turn the comments off just for my reunion process, I feel, because actually I don't want to talk about it in the comments, and I do appreciate a lot of you want to just say thank you and that, so I'm just saying I'm grateful for you listening and thank you for listening, and I hope it helps you. And I can still do sessions and readings on a personal level, but I'm not going to be interacting in the comments or even having them on because just because I don't want to, and I've got that option. So I think that's all I'll say. At the end of the day, I don't want to. So, so yeah, what was I going to say about this reunion process? So going back to these 8 moons that they told me about, not long after that, I was saying to them, how long is it going to be? Because the 8 moons worked out to like, what is that? 4 months. So at some point, would have been around 7 weeks ago, last Thursday, definitely 7 weeks ago, last Thursday, I did my cards and I asked them, when is it going to be? Or is it still going to be like the 8 moons? And normally I don't get much of an answer around that. They normally just tell me this, no, it's now, it's going to be now, any minute. But I got a clear message, 7 weeks. And that worked out as last Thursday. So I put that on my calendar. So that's like my reunion process, right? So as it approached that Thursday, what happened was I'd had this like little age spot thing on my hand since Christmas, which I've various times I've put peel on to get rid of it. It kept coming back. And I was wondering why I brought that to myself, because that's fear. And, I'd be looking at it and then part of me would be challenging myself with like, are you going to go into fear about this? Because look at it, staring you right in the face. It's right on your hand where you can see it all the time. And this kind of thing people worry about and they go to the doctors about and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't, basically, because I knew it was just fear that I brought to myself. So I ignored it and carried on peeling it off. And then I had the little operation thing which I had to deal with, and like I say, it wasn't healing properly. And when I asked them about that with my cards, they said doctors. I literally put the first card down and they just said doctors. And I was like, well, I don't know why you're telling me the doctors, because you've already told me it's going to be all right. I know I didn't even need to do those cards. I'm just feeling bored, so I'm thinking I'll do my cards. So why are you saying doctors? So I kind of got a little bit irritated. And then I had to let go of the irritation, obviously, because that's not what you want in your vibration. And then, but anyway, because they'd said it, and I always do what they say, I just booked a doctor's appointment. And I was thinking, well, I suppose I could ask about this operation thing, and I could also, I was thinking, why else could I go to the doctors, really? Because I knew I wasn't going to go about this on my hand. And then I thought, well, you know, I'd like to get some retin A, because apparently it makes you look younger. And sometimes you need, in vibrationally, you'll need a step towards the belief that it's going to do the actual thing, right? So if you've got a belief that retin A is going to work, then that will work and make you look younger. So I thought, well, I'm going to ask for that. So I went to the doctors, and when I asked her about it, she pulled up a form on her computer, and she said, there's loads of questions here. I can't go through all these questions with you. So she said, I'm going to send you to a dermatologist. Do you want to see a dermatologist? I was like, yes, I do, actually. And I didn't even know why I was saying, yes, I want to see a dermatologist. I just knew I was going to say yes, and it felt right to go. So that was on Thursday, basically. I went to the doctors on Thursday. When I got out of the doctors, I knew that that's the start of my reunion process. The other thing that they've told me, and they've told me this for me and for various other people, is that when you get to the conclusion stage, you get the man buffet coming in, or the man's smorgasbord, they've also called it. I've already had that start last year, so I had someone coming towards me then with like offering me love, kind of a thing, a potential, an opportunity, which I didn't take because it wasn't right. And I know why it comes. It comes to get you ready so that you feel really good about yourself and you feel really on top of the world and attractive and all that kind of stuff. And it gives you an option, because it's what creates in your vibration from having the option, you see. So the appointment that she's made me at the dermatologist, which I have to wait for, and I don't know when it is yet, but that'll be when I meet the other man, because there's one specific other man coming in that's my option, that's going to get my vibration ready. So, and I've spoken to other people, done sessions with other people who've already had that one man come in that gets them ready for their physical union. So this is the one where it's like, it could be really good. You know, there's never a problem with it. It's something really easy. It's something really uplifting. It's something really, yeah, easygoing. You know, it's not harmful. There's no conflict. There's nothing like that. And it's literally a choice. So it's like you could have this, what people call a safety relationship, I guess, or you could have the twin when the twin comes in. And the twin, of course, is like what was always challenging to you. So it's like your old self, your ego self would be like, oh, I don't know about that. You know, maybe it's going to be the same again or whatever. But your new self, whether or not you're in the broader perspective, which of course I am, but whether or not you're in the broader perspective, your new self has a choice between the safety relationship or your twin flame, basically. So it's either the easy route, or it's the more challenging route, but also, or what could be perceived as challenging. But of course, only one is, we used to call it true love. Only one is the one, right? So there's nothing wrong with which you choose, which you don't choose, because it's your path forward. But I'm just saying that comes in. So I know that my appointment at my dermatologist is where the other one comes in. That's why they got me to go to the doctors. So you see, everything in the physical world is not what you think it is. And they started with that, with this thing on my hand, with trying to make me go to the doctors. Oh, I started because I brought it to myself. But I ignored that. And it was really funny as well, because when I had that thing, there's the M word, right? I'm not going to say it outright, but it's one of those nasty things people don't want. It begins with an M, related to things on your skin. And I kept getting that word in my head. But whenever I got it, I was like, that's false information. I haven't got that. I know I haven't got that. This is where I'm at now. I'm law of attraction. I manifest a creator in my own reality. I know I'm not bringing myself that. So why are you saying it to me? And they're trying to get me to go to the doctors. So... See, I've got wise to the whole process now, but that's good. It become the broader perspective. So anyway, so you can see everything in your physical life is actually part of this process. You bring it all to yourself. It's all part of your process. Nothing is ever wrong. Everything is ever right. You've only ever got to move away from fear. You've got a man buffet coming in, or a woman buffet. If you haven't had that start yet. But if you get that, you see, I got that starting at the beginning of completion. So you might have that starting at the beginning of completion, and then at conclusion you get just the one alternative come in, because that's what's happening with me. So it might also happen with you. You'll know who it is in the end. You'll know who you want. You'll know what to do. Nobody needs to tell you what to do. It's all inside of you. It's all about your vibration. It's all about where you're at in terms of your strength and your resilience. It's about your resilience at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say really. Is there anything else? No. So conclusion is where your vibrations are matching, and that's when you're possibly having your soulmate come in. That's an alternate choice. I don't know if everybody has chosen that for themselves as the way they bring this journey to conclusion, but I know I have, and I know at least 3 others so far that are doing exactly the same thing. The vibration is always the end of the journey inside of you, how you feel, like I say, and being really resilient against things that would harm you, and not even allowing it to kind of affect you at all. Not even not allowing it, just doesn't affect you anymore. You're just like, oh, whatever. That's not my problem. What you think of me isn't my problem. It's your problem. That kind of thing. It's that attitude that comes in at the end of this journey. So there's nothing at all that can affect you that isn't yourself, basically, and what you choose to be and how you choose to feel. I said about the stuff still coming from the masculine, didn't I? The mental stuff, the mind stuff. I did have that at the moon as well. That day of the moon, yesterday, it was churning a lot of stuff around in my head. But I knew, because I'm the broader perspective, that I could see that I could see it from that level of understanding. And I was just like, I've just got to let this pass. I went for sleep in the afternoon. I had a glass of wine in the evening. I went to bed early. And I just saw it going around in my head. And I was just like, I know what it is. I know why it's there. I know where it's coming from. And I just, kind of let go of being bothered by it, really, interestingly. Anyway, so I'll put some cards out and see what they say for the collective. And breathe in. That's what I was doing last night in bed. That's what I was doing when the stuff was going around in my head. I was just taking really deep breaths to stay connected to my higher self, because I could view this stuff in my mind, and I was just like, I'm not going to be part of that. So if I just breathe really deeply, it will just not be me, It will just be what it is. It will just be his ego. And that's never wrong. None of that stuff that comes is ever wrong from him. We're clearing together. Oh, that's the other thing. In conclusion, you see, now this is very interesting. I'll just say this really quickly. I just did a reading for someone, and the reading showed me so much more than it's ever shown me before for this person who I've done quite a few readings for. It showed me her heritage, like her Native American heritage, and his as well, her twin, and how they are, people talk about star seeds, so you're not who you really are. Well, it was like they are not who they really think they are. They're part of this tribe, and they've incarnated as these 2 people that are sharing this energy, that are doing this energy work, and everything that's brought to them to clear is brought from the tribe. So you see how it's even more than you think it could be, or could view it as from your physical eye, even from like a twin flame perspective, right? There's energy running between you. You know that there's clearing being done, but where it's coming from and who's bringing it in, it's not even you and him. This is a tribe bringing it in, and it's not coming from them. They're bringing it in for the human collective. So it's like, it's just incredible to see behind the scenes of what is really there and what's going on. Amazing. Okay. And that's why nothing is ever wrong. Let's see what they've got to say. Right, so we've got the devil, that's energetic connection. I'm just going to, let me just check, hang on, that you can see the cards. And that you're also seeing that I'm taking them off the top. Yeah, right. So we've got devil, which is energetic connection. 3 of cups, that's happiness. Justice. So again, look at the column. There's a column in there, right? Do you see it? The justice, the totem pole. So that's like that column of light. It is light, in fact. That's the vibration. That's the correct vibration, or the vibration being ready, steady, optimum, whatever you want to call it, solid. Pillar of light. 5 of Pentacles, that's negativity. 8 of Swords, then we've got worry, so that's the fear coming in and going out through the mind. King of Pentacles, so that is the physical incarnation of the one that you're connected to, your other twin flame, the masculine derivative of the energetic function. 7 of Pentacles, you've got fruition, so that's the result in the physical world. It's coming from the vibration, right? The column of light. King of Cups, that's masculine energy following the heart. So that's what it all boils down to, right? When everything's cleared. Let's see what this is. And completion in the world. So, it's underneath. King of Swords, and that's the masculine truth, which is a vibration again. So the masculine, I've said this before, the masculine's truth is not anything that you think it is from your physical experience. It's his vibration being the same as your vibration once you've reached completion. So, see what I'm going to say on this 8 of Swords. So this is worry still being brought for this vibration to come about. New journey, 0 point. Well, we've just come out of a moon, so it would be new journey, because we just released loads of stuff. So we just dropped vibration, frequency to align with the masculine, to clear a load more stuff, and then the vibration goes back up and it's starting a new journey again. And this new journey is the one where they're telling me we are now on the last stretch to rebirth. 10 of Wands, that's ending of everything that's negative as well. That's ending in the masculine of everything that is contrary to that solid and steady vibration, basically. So we've got an ending in the mind, right? Ending in the mind of the masculine and the new journey. So what was brought at that moon is the last of it, basically. 7 of Wands, that's resistance. 6 of Pentacles, which is transmitting back and forth as well. For a physical result, those 2 cards of Pentacles, so we're looking at a physical result coming from the vibration. It's still got resistance showing on the vibration though. So let's see what that's about. 7 of Cups on the devil. So 7 of Cups is emotions. Harnessing emotions, basically. It's every single emotion that's available. Let me see what it is in completion. And we got wisdom. Right, so 7 of Cups, emotions, right? Every single emotion that's available. And the wisdom of what is required for completion. So if you're looking at this journey from a completely energetic standpoint of how you can only ever complete the journey energetically, you can't complete it in the physical. So all that stuff that's about worrying and stressing about when you're going to be with somebody, that's the stuff that needs to be let go of. That's all resistance. All the stuff that's about believing whether you're on the journey or not, or whether the journey is real, or whether at the end of it, the conclusion is coming about. All that stuff is resistance because it's all negative belief. So that's resistance again. So we're looking at that. All the stuff that is leading you to a place emotionally where you don't feel at one with yourself. So at oneness is feeling good in every single moment of every single day. So that can't ever be attached to any meaning that you're seeing or deriving from the physical world, because the physical world isn't always going to give you a feeling good in every moment, especially when you're on this journey. So you'll become in a broader perspective that sees how the physical matrix is operating in bringing you fear that you have to rise above and not become one with. Because once you're not becoming one with the fear, you're becoming one with your own self-love. because being fearful itself is not loving the self, because it's refusing to see that there is energy that produces the whole of the physical realm. So it's believing the lie of the physical realm being all that there is. Okay, so that's always the resistance, isn't it? So being in a broader perspective and understanding and accepting and acknowledging that everything in the physical world is only a production of the energy itself is where you find absolutely no resistance to everything that is. I think that's what they're saying there. And that's the wisdom that needs to be accepted to bring you to completion, because this is a completion card. So they're still talking about basically emotions in the connection. So the emotions that are in the connection are the feminine's emotions. The masculine's emotions are at the will of the feminine's emotions, because your emotional link is about as strong as your vibrational link. So you feeling good about yourself is them feeling good about themselves. So we've got that, but also you not attaching to them emotionally is you feeling good about yourself. And you not attaching them to them emotionally is also part of that broader perspective, because then you understand that the whole thing functions energetically, not about your emotions. And the emotions are always this stuff of like wanting and desiring and needing, and quite often cording you into a lower state of being, which is therefore replicated in your vibration, which becomes lower instead of higher. There's a really interesting thing actually that's happened to me, and I was guided to tell somebody else in a session as well. That was, I've been charged with like really becoming aware of all my emotions and what they are, and that and what I'm in at any given time and how it feels and all that kind of stuff. And there was this really interesting cross current that I received the wisdom on. Right, and this is what this is about. Is that when you go through this journey, and so much of it, like, or the past of it, is heartache and pain and sadness and grief and loss and victim mentality and wounding and all that kind of stuff. So you've got like this old story that you've been through, that's all that. And as you move through the journey, you lose a little bit of it as you move through constantly. You're always upgrading out of that energy into a better energy where you get into the feeling better place. So it kind of comes in automatically that you'll finish this journey in a feeling better place, because that's where you're taking it and that's why you incarnated to do it. One thing they showed me about that is how when that switches and you switch from like the wounded place to like the feel good place, you have this, what comes in with like the better feeling and the better, like, because when you get the better feeling, you get better things showing up in your life. And some of them are quite miraculous, and they're quite, phenomenal. They're like profound things that show up that are, it's a sense of relief is what you first get. So when you get these things showing up, you have this feeling of like, when it shows up, oh, thank you so much. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And when you go into that, it kind of takes you back to this wounded place so quickly, because it's like you're like, I'm so grateful that my life is so different now, and it reminds you of the wounded place. So you go back into that energy, which is not vibrationally resonant with completion. In completion, you don't feel any of the wounding. So what they were showing me was how that happens, like, because I was still doing it a little bit, like something happened and I was just like, oh my god, this journey is amazing. It's just, this feels so good, it feels so great, I'm so happy. And as I was bringing this happiness in, I also was having to experience again what had not been happiness for so long, and had felt like a despair for so long. And they were just showing me, they were saying, well, don't be in that place where you're like thanking us and being so grateful for it being better, because you will activate the despair of the past. Just be in a place where you're like, this is great, this is really great, and not any more than that, so they were just showing me like the tipping point between what can be a feeling good place, and then tipping you into a quite negative place. You can feel it in yourself. When tears start to form, your vibration will be changing. It doesn't matter if they're tears of joy or tears of sadness. It's still a vibration. It's an emotional place that is an emotion of relief, which says that you've got something to be relieved from. And if you've still got something to be feeling relief from, you're still attached to your wounding. So you want to be in a place where you're not having to feel the relief from being released from the wounding, and you're only feeling the feeling good that is your right to feel in every moment, with no alternative to that. It's like, you've always got a choice as well between things that happen to you. Are you going to feel the shame and the guilt, or are you just going to say no and feel good and let go? It's another choice basically of an emotion. So they were just showing me that one because it's quite a, that's quite a, an ill. It's a narrow tipping point between that feeling amazement and then also tipping into despair because you'd never had that before, kind of a thing. So just saying that, right? So the emotions, everything has to be this solidarity, this stability, this knowingness. You see, the knowingness is that you know that life is great and that you know life is always going to be great. You don't have to mention the past to yourself anymore. You don't have to look at it anymore. You don't have to activate the wounding. You don't have to acknowledge anything around being a victim. And then you will never be, then you're not really. So there's that. Okay. And then we've got Mother Earth, so that's the stability and that's coming out, and the happiness. So you can see that's kind of what they were just saying, because the volatility of the vibration. So it's how they show me it, right? It's like the vibration is always on the move, right? You don't just achieve a healthy vibration and it stays like that, and then you go back to going back to watching The Notebook and randomly crying at every scene. You get your vibration stable, then you go back to watch The Notebook to see which parts you cry at from your higher self and be like, aha, now what's that telling me about where I'm at the journey? Right? So it's like your knowingness is your solidarity, and therefore your happiness is your every minute, every single minute, right, about everything. And that's where it is for the feminine. That's where we've already been there. We've got there. King of Wands coming out and the King of Cups. So this is masculine energy, and that's masculine following the heart. So that's how the energy follows the heart. So it's the energy that follows the heart, not the mentality. So that's how you get it there, through the energy, not through the mentality. It's only by not attaching to the mind, unless you're doing something with it that's creating. You've got the two things you do with your mind, right? One is detach from it when it's bringing you fear or something negative, and one is using it to create beautiful future through your beliefs and your imagination and your ability to harness that. So that's all. So it's energy, and then that brings it through to fruition. Okay, and then we've got here, oh look, fluctuating vibration on negativity. So that's pentacles as well. So it's physical world. So there's always going to be something. So this is the other thing, right? I'll just throw this in there. After I'd had, like I said, I got attacked on the last video. That literally was just like water off a duck's back. So it didn't affect me at all. The only how it affected me was it made me go in my mind, and it made me want to correct that person, and it made me want to challenge them, and that is my ego coming up. So it didn't bring up any shame or anything like that, just ego. So I did what you do with all narcissists. I just blocked and deleted, because that's what you do with narcissists, right? And that was that dealt with. It was challenging for me to deal with that, my ego coming up, because my ego is really strong. But also I know that when I did bring myself those attacks, it's because his ego is really strong as well. So I was literally bringing it in so I could do that work around my ego, which is also his ego. So everything is always as it's meant to be. You see? Even though it's hard and it's challenging in a sense, because it's ego coming up. So after that had happened, I was literally, I'll tell you this right, it was about, my post arrives about 11 o'clock every morning, and it was about 30 seconds to 11, and I was walking towards the front door, and I was like, what are you going to bring me today? What's going to land on that mat? Because I knew something was coming, because I knew it was a whole week before that moon of bringing myself challenges, and because I had the the doctor thing and all that coming up as well, and As I walked to the door, the post came through and it landed on the mat, and I was like, ah, here it is. And I knew it, and I knew it, and I picked up the letters, and it was one of those private car park parking tickets that is like, you look, open it, and it's like really scary because it's got your license plate number and it says you owe them this vast amount of money. And I just laughed. I just opened it and I laughed. And then I went and called the shop that I was in, and they cancelled it, and it just went away. But it was so funny that I knew it was coming before it even landed, and then I just laughed. So that's the kind of place that I've got to with like the fear. So it's like this is what it's all about, right? This is about the vibration, because then my vibration is not even the fear is not even it's not penetrating my emotions, and therefore it's not getting into my vibration. And that is what happens in completion for the feminine, that you get like that, you become like that, then they become like that, and then they have no fear of following the heart. Okay, masculine and feminine. Chariot, so that's the soul vehicle, so that's the oneness of you, the masculine and feminine, complete. Physical version of the masculine energy made manifest. So this is what's going on right now. So maybe still challenges around the vibration. So you see all the broader perspective of that, right? Coming through the mind. We've actually just released a lot after that moon. It's a brand new journey. If you're anything like me, and what's happened is you had it all in your head already, and it's just gone, because it has gone with mine, and that's that ending. And then here we have the masculine coming forward through the balance of the masculine and feminine in the soul vehicle. So that's the balance in you, which again is 0 point, 0 point, which is the harmony that exists, which is in the vibration. It's like you know that you have another purpose being here, but you're not doing all this seeking around it. So you're not like out there scrabbling around trying to find out the meaning of it. Basically, you're just inside yourself with the knowing of it, and you know that you have a big purpose being here. Your purpose is being you right now, although there's so much more behind the curtain. It's being you right now, and it's your emotions right now. And in this journey, this one journey with your twin, that's where you're at, always where you're at. Your emotions right now, your vibration right now is your work. I'm going to put one more out somewhere. 9 of Swords, ending of the dark night of the soul. 6 Cups, reunion. I'm going to put one more there as well. Ah, there it is. The Empress, rebirth. So that's where we're at, basically. I don't think I've got anything more to say than that. I hope I made it quick enough. Hope my washing machine didn't disturb you too much. But I've just got up and I'm feeling like so much, get up and go after yesterday's inactivity. I just have to do it all at once, basically, within reason. Within reason. All right, then. Sending you all lots and lots of love. Wishing you all the best. Just really look at everything. Look at everything that's going on in your life, and look at it in a new way that's like the amazement of every single little thing that happens, and how it's all, coordinated in this like miraculous way to like bring you to this place where even more miraculous things are going to happen, basically. All right, then. See you later. Bye.